IVM.
Hello and welcome to Smile India. I'm your host Shifa Maitra and I'm back with positive, uplifting news from across the nation. It's wonderful to smile and I assure you that there's a lot to smile about in the country. Let's begin with North Bengal. Here in Siliguri lives Munmun Sarkar, who got known a few years ago as the state's first female e-rickshaw driver. Then when the pandemic struck, she was homebound. She was horrified when she saw how ambulance drivers were fleecing patients. She felt helpless. Then when the second wave came in, she sought permission from the authorities and converted her rickshaw into an ambulance. She then began taking passengers to the hospital for free. She learned how to sanitize her vehicle between the trips and did such a good job that others began requesting her to do it professionally. So she took to sanitizing patients' homes in her free time. She refused to charge a penny for it. And soon an anonymous donor sent her a sanitizing machine. She could now sanitize not just homes, but even places like police stations and crematoriums. When the numbers started going down, Munmun, or Munmundi as she's fondly called, took on a new mission. She now gives free rides to and fro to people getting vaccinated. This COVID hero sure deserves our respect. Did you know that there is a whistling village in our country where people communicate via whistles? I'm serious. Hong Tong in Meghalaya's East Khasi Hills is the only place in the country where people communicate through whistles. Isn't that amazing? While in big cities, whistling is synonymous with eve-teasing or loud parties, in this remote village, it's a complete language. Everyone has two names. One, a formal one, and the other is your whistling name. Across mountains, people chat in their whistling language, and the hills echo with their messages. Local politicians are now talking to the Ministry of Cultural Affairs to try and get a UNESCO tag for this unique place. I wonder how people from this village would communicate if they came to the city. Maybe they'd have an advantage since we won't get them, a bit like the P language we used as kids. Now let me tell you about 24-year-old Yati Gaur from Noida who set out on a walk across the nation. He is in no hurry and has walked 23,000 kilometers across Rajasthan, Uttarakhand and Himachal and claims he's only just begun. He takes a train or a plane only if really needed to get from one state to the other, but once there, he starts walking to discover people, places and experiences that he would never have had if he was not on foot. Yati is a trained cinematographer and began visiting remote areas in his job with the Backpackers Hostel. Like the rest of us, he was stuck at home during the lockdown and realized that walking is what cleared his head. So he set off on this long walk. Without any bookings or agenda, he walks and he's had the most memorable experiences. He walks 20 kilometers a day with his backpack and by nightfall finds a homestay or ashram to spend the night in. If nothing is available, he pitches his tent under the stars and sleeps. He also experiences Indian hospitality up close and personal. Once in the scorching heat of Rajasthan, he collapsed, and strangers helped him and made sure he was fed and nursed back to health before he left their home. He takes COVID tests from time to time. He's encountered bears and snakes, but nothing can stop his walk. Like a sadhu at Kedarnath told him, he must keep walking like a child, amazed and excited with whatever the path offers. It does take guts to do what he's doing, but I'm a fan for sure. Now it's time to tell you about a real-life hero from Uttar Pradesh's Barabanki district. Kumar Divyansh at 16 has won a host of bravery awards at the national and state level. Totally well-deserved, you will agree when I tell you what he did. At the age of 13, he was getting back from school with his 5-year-old sister and 7 classmates. As they got off the bus at their hometown, suddenly a bull charged towards his sister. In a split second, Divyansh came between the bull and his sister like a wall and attacked the mighty animal with his school bag. That gave his sister and the other children a moment to scream for help. Divyansh had to keep engaging with the raging bull till help came, armed only with his school bag. He was hurt and had fallen on the ground but refused to give up. Luckily, by then the situation was brought under control and the bull was taken away. That's when the terrified kids realized that Divyansh had 4 fractures on his hand and he had saved 8 lives. Kudos to this kid's presence of mind. That's it for today, and I'll be back next week with more delightful news from India. Till then, stay home, stay safe, and get vaccinated. For more interesting information on our country, please like and follow Good News Indians on Facebook. To hear more engaging podcasts, download the IVM app go to the IVM website or look for us wherever you get podcasts from. To stay in touch with me, you could look up Shifa Maitra on Twitter and Instagram. Since you heard and liked Smile India in English, you could check out our Hindi version too and recommend it to people who prefer podcasts in Hindi.
I hope you enjoyed that show. Let me tell you a little bit about what happened on the IVM Podcast Network this week. On Cyrus Says, Cyrus was joined by Irfan Pabani, who is an old friend of his. They talk about the rich flavors of Indian food and Parsi food specifically. He was also joined by author and historian William Dalrymple. They discuss literature, history, and the culture of the Indian subcontinent. And let me give you a few quick things to check out. Chuck, aka Deepak Gopal Krishnan of Simplified and the Origin of Things fame, has Rohan Joshi, formerly of AIB, on his show. Also on this round is on me. Gautam Purohit of Thakur's Bhojnalaya was on. On the note, Maruk and I talks about the cabinet reshuffle. And do check out Global Victoria Tech Talks. We talk about the booming gaming and edutech industries in Australia. Do follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram to keep up what's going on the network. And I'd like to finally thank our sponsors on the network this week, Cred, Ciet, and Global Victoria. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Come learn and experience the ABCDs of being queer with me, Shunetro,
and me, Farhad,
on our show, Gay BCD.
The two of us take you through our stories and experiences of being gay men in the city of Mumbai and have candid
and sometimes downright scandalous
conversations about sexuality, gay culture, and everything in between.
Catch new episodes of Gay BCD every Tuesday on the IVM Podcasts website, app, or wherever you get all your podcasts from.